Welcome to Comic Book Theater with your hosts, JR and the War Dog. What is up? This is the War Dog. I'm back here with another episode of Comic Book Theater with my main man, JR. What's going on, JR?
What's up, War Dog?
Oh, not much, brother, not much. So JR went to Brenton Comic-Con and he had the great opportunity to interview some awesome cosplayers. JR, why don't you tell us a little bit about meeting these cosplayers, who they are, where we can find them, and then we'll just roll on to the interviews.
Yeah, man, I got to go to BransonCon 2019. It was the first year that they had put on this specific con in Branson. Before, they've had Vision Con. That con got moved to Springfield for this year, which I will be attending as well. But I want to focus on BransonCon. And yeah, man, I got to meet some of the coolest people, the most approachable people, and the most welcoming people down there. And really, the cosplay community for such a small town as Branson, and really the region, honestly, because people coming from the city I live in, Springfield, coming from Arkansas, it's really, you have to have been living under a rock for the last 30 plus years to not know of Branson, Missouri.
What, do you live under a rock?
But anyway, that's where it was located at. And so I got to primarily went there to meet cosplayers. And the cosplay community down there literally welcomed me with open arms. I'm not really that creative. I can appreciate the talent. I can appreciate the bravery of people to dress up as their favorite characters, to go around a con and be willing to take pictures, to be willing to talk to each other and stuff like that. And really, the sense of community that I got from these cosplayers, and if you're into cosplay already, you likely will know some of the names of the people that were down there. A gentleman, his cosplay handle is Agent Stan. He cosplays as Stan Lee. And honestly, if you ever get a chance to meet Agent Stan and his wife, they have the best story of Agent Stan and Stan Lee meeting the Green Power Ranger. It's a great story in and of itself. I'm not going to ruin it because it's their story, and obviously I would not do it justice. So I got to meet him. I got to meet a gentleman by the name of Bruce Holt. He does some of the most amazing cosplay armor, and if you can mold it in foam, this guy can do it. And he's a local guy around here, and blew my mind the type of stuff that he's able to do in foam is just amazing. Jen Greeley was there. She has several cosplays from Captain Marvel to the bride from Kill Bill, just a vast array of cosplay under her belt as well. Also got to meet Lauren from BB Cosplay. She was somebody that I was not as aware of as some of these other cosplayers, but got familiar with Lauren, and just one of the nicest young ladies. And man, I'm telling you, her Captain Marvel is spot on, man. Like, if you read the comics and you see Lauren walking around as Captain Marvel, like, she nailed it for sure. And so she's one of the ladies that I got to interview, so you'll get to hear in her own words some of the things that have drawn her to cosplay and that kind of thing. And then honestly, one of the other ones, and this is one of the big interviews that I got to do down at Branson, was AZ Power Girl. If you are familiar with her, her name is Kara Nicole. And one of the things that I enjoyed the most was getting to know these cosplayers and they have legit nerd cred, man. Like they're not just pretty ladies who dress in costumes and run around cons and get pictures taken of them. They're legit fans. They're not people who are that have just come lately to because they see the movies and stuff like that. No, they were reading the comic books first. They were playing the video games first. They were doing all these other things first, and then it just so happened that cosplay kind of felt natural for them to go into. And the community, like I say, is ridiculously welcoming. And that's what I experienced with the cosplay community down there in Branson. And I would shudder to think that would be anywhere else. It would be much different, really, because there's something that feels really accepting about people who are wandering around kind of in their own little universe as the cosplayers. But, you know, like you say, you just really, you'll have to listen to the interviews. I'm trying my best to do them justice, but really, it's probably best that you hear them in their own words. Wouldn't you agree, Todd?
Wait a second, JR. Who's Todd? Who's this Todd guy that you're talking about? I'm the War Dog, man. Just kidding. Todd is my real name. John, you couldn't have said it any better. The interviews went really well. You did a great job. I got to give you some credit on that. It was fun to listen to. I got a chance to listen to it before making this podcast, and I really enjoyed it. We're going to have another episode with some voice actors that do voices for Five Nights at Freddy's. And oh my God, listen to the next podcast for that one, because those dudes were hilarious. I was cracking up and I had a smile from ear to ear just listening to that stuff. So yeah, stick around and listen to these interviews. They're really fun. One thing that we want to do on this one is have a giveaway. John's got some cool Kara Nicole AZ Power Girl stuff that we want to give away. And so the way that this giveaway is going to work is, if you've listened to the podcast to this point, we have a secret word. The secret word is The Crew. Okay, so it's actually 2 words. The name of the comic book that I've written is called The Crew, and so that is our secret word. In order to enter this contest, what you got to do is go to Comic Book Theater on Facebook, and there you should see in the right-hand side a send message button. Hit the send message button, type in The Crew, and then we will randomly pick from the people that have submitted a winner. And that winner then can just provide us their address, and we will send you the Kara Nicole swag as a thank you for listening to our podcast. So go on to the Comic Book Theater Facebook page and type in The Crew if you want to be entered into this contest. The contest will end after we release our next podcast. So you have up to our next podcast to enter. Once that podcast is posted, entries are closed. John and I will review the names, and somebody will get some sweet Kara Nicole swag, and I'm sure you will love it. So without further ado, we're going to roll into the interviews. So enjoy.
This is John Reynolds on location at Branson Comic-Con 2019. I am here with Kara Nicole, aka AZ Power Girl. And Kara, do you mind saying hi to everybody?
Hi to everybody.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Wanted to just get started here because we're doing this for our cosplay special podcast, and just to kind of, we're going to dive right into these questions. The marriage of Kara and AZ Power Girl, was that kind of a marriage of convenience? How did that come to be?
Well, it's actually really interesting. First of all, people ask me, is Kara your real name? For those of you who don't know, Kara, or Kara, is actually Power Girl's name. And my first name is actually Kara Nicole. I have 2 first names. And I didn't really want to go by Kara because I would get, oh, that's fake. Well, for those of you who follow me and know that I ran for House of Representatives, they don't let you put fake names on the ballot. So yes, it is my name, and I actually look like Power Girl. from day to day in my real life?
I think we've noticed. People who follow you on social media, I think that they've probably noticed the similarities, the resemblance that might be there. Some people might say it's remote, but
Now, I don't have an orange cat. I only have a black cat with a handicapped eye and a calico and a white cat who hates me, but I don't have an orange cat. So I guess there's that difference.
They'll probably let it slide, probably.
They're not gonna.
They're not. Yeah, you're probably right. We'll see that in the comments at some point, I'm sure. So we're on the subject of Power Girl here. We're going to keep right on rolling. Who do you have a favorite artist-writer combo that has done Power Girl in the comic books?
So I gotta say I'm partial to the Jimmy Palmiotti, Amanda Connor years. I think that's when she really started to come into her own and become a prominent character in her own right.
I agree. And for those of you who don't know, I'm a huge Power Girl fan from way back as well. So that's right on the money as far as I'm concerned as well.
Well, there were so many years when she was just kind of, they weren't sure what to do with her. I mean, they wanted to keep her around. And if you don't know, originally, I've spoken to the original colorist of Power Girl. And back then, the way that they colored comics, they had to do it with dyes, and the paper was almost like newsprint. White did not take well to the paper.
Right.
So he originally thought of yellow or orange. But he did put white in there as in, okay, I really want this, but I'm going to put these other more realistical choices. I said realistical. It's a word now.
It's cool.
Use it in Scrabble.
I made one up earlier in another interview. Totally cool with pointing words.
So, yeah, they thought that white was not going to be chosen, but did put it out there. And they did choose to use white.
Right. Well, and like you say, they really didn't know what to do with her for quite a while there. I kind of have to say that I think it was a big mistake to make her an Atlantean.
But you know why they did that, though?
Well,
because they had to hide her during the Crisis on Infinite Earths, and they needed to protect her, but then she didn't know who she was. And I like the whole, I don't know who I am, that was kind of cool, but that costume at that time was horrendous. I really didn't like that, and I'm glad that they moved past it, but the storyline works, and it's a lot of fun. But you could tell they really didn't know what to do with her. I really got to say that whole, okay, who puts a gun to their head, pulls the trigger to make themselves smarter? I really was not a fan of that whole thing. And then she's going to go around wearing this wig. Now, as someone who wears this Power Girl cosplay often, it is not easy to hide under a business suit. It's not, because you got the neck thing going on. I mean, it just is not a costume that is conducive to hiding underneath clothes.
I would gather that that's probably the case. There again, I don't hide costumes under my clothes. That's kind of the reason we're doing. Not anymore.
Who's the weirdo
my wife
now?
Doesn't. I know. My wife doesn't allow for that. Anyway.
Oh, blame her. Yeah.
So, just another question that came to mind here. We're sitting here at Branson Comic-Con 2019, and just because people can't see you, we're on the podcast. Who are you cosplaying as today?
So today I am Ms. Marvel.
Ms. Marvel, which is very timely with the movie just coming out and those kind of things. So, just out of curiosity, if somebody else shows up here as Ms. Marvel, what goes through your mind whenever you first see that person show up as Ms. Marvel? I mean, is there maybe a bit of you that's a little bit competitive with them that oh, mine's better or theirs is better? How does that work?
So usually when a cosplayer sees someone else in the same costume, typically the first thing that goes through their mind is, I want to get a picture, because it's like, hey, someone's being like me. And like it's really exciting. Yeah, it's like, yeah, you're doing that. I think that if you're going to get bitter and pissy about it, can I use that word? Then you're kind of a jerk. I mean, You don't own any of these unless it's your original character that someone purposely went and did just to spite you. And if they're that petty, they have too much free time on their hands. And being that petty is their own punishment in the world. But, as a cosplayer, I will get people that'll message me, oh, did you see so-and-so wore a Power Girl to this con? And they knew you were going to be there. You were on the guest list and everything. That's ridiculous. We are all supportive. There's other cosplayers who are known for their Power Girl as well. We are all fine with each other. We take pictures with each other. We do not like being told to fight. Not cool. Oh, I want to see you guys fight and beat the crap out of each other. Well, we don't want to beat the crap out of each other. Yeah. We're kind of friends. It's all good. We do not own this. It's okay. And it's always great to get different ideas because no two costumes are exactly the same unless you bought it from China.
Right.
There's always differences. There's differences in your body. There's differences in your hair. There's differences in the way that you wear it and how you put it together. And the styles. So we are all very cool with each other and just happy to be here doing what we love.
Well, and that actually brings up a point that you and I have discussed in messages before, that cosplay is a very inclusive community as far as, I don't remember how you said it exactly, but it's something to the effect of body type, gender. It doesn't matter. If you're cosplaying, and cosplay is good.
Exactly. And,
right.
Surprisingly, the biggest bump in cosplayers, who's doing the most, I'm finding a lot of seniors are getting in on cosplay. Mm-hmm. They're enjoying it. They have the time. They have the ability. Cosplay really is for everyone.
Right.
And, people a lot of times, especially women, they'll get concerned. More men are becoming a little insecure about it, but I have this problem with my body or that problem with my body, or I don't look like this or that or the other, or I'm the wrong, race, or my hair's not right. When you're in a costume, these little kids, they see Aquaman, they see Spider-Man. They don't see that you're 75 in a Spider-Man suit. They don't see that your hair is off or just not long enough because you cut it and they cut off 6 inches instead of 4. They don't see that. They don't see that little back roll that happens with your bra strap that every woman loves. Hashtag smell the sarcasm. They don't see that. They see Superman, Wonder Woman, Spider-Man. They see their characters and they are excited to see you. And you brought that to life for them.
Right on. So now one other question that kind of is off of that last one is, I kind of think there's probably a difference between just a model and a cosplayer. Where would you draw that line? Is there a line there for you personally, or is it a case-by-case basis? Every
person puts the line where they choose. I really think that personally cosplay is dressing up, embodying the character, knowing, whatever it is you might know less, you might know more, but enjoying that character. So for me, I've never really passed judgment on cosplay or model anything until I met a cosplayer who was in a cosplay that I loved. She did Tina Turner's character from the Mad Max movie Beyond Thunderdome. And she was gorgeous and she was perfect. Every hair was amazing. The suit, everything. The earrings, those big, horrible, god-awful earrings, it was all there and it was perfect. And I spoke to her and I asked her about it and she says, oh, I really don't know anything about it. I just had a friend that put me in this costume and I was devastated.
I can imagine that being a comic book nerd, that would be akin to a comic book creator or artist that works for comic books and not knowing anything about comic books. All I do is put the pen to the paper and draw what they tell me.
Well,
it would feel hollow.
That's exactly, but you don't have to know everything. I mean, sometimes it's a character that's new and you love the way it looked and you just want to roll with that and you're excited about it, and that's okay. It's when you don't know and you don't care. If you love it, if you hate it, wear a costume of a character you hate. Have some feeling about the character, about the costume. Otherwise, they might as well put the costume on top of a suit, on top of a mannequin. Well, you're not a mannequin, you're a person.
Right. So, I just have a few more questions for you, and I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to do this with us. Are there characters that you would like to see cosplayed more that don't really get their just due being cosplayed? I gather that probably the most popular ones, Harley Quinn, Deadpool, those kind, happen a lot. Are there ones you would like to see cosplayed more?
I wouldn't know until I saw it. You see a costume, you're like, why didn't anyone ever do this? This is amazing. So that's kind of my opinion on that. As far as cosplays that are done excessively, if they love it, that's great. I do have my opinions on some of those things. Anyone that puts a gun to their own head, I have a huge problem with. I don't care if you're Harley, I don't care if you're Deadpool, do not put a gun to your head. It's not funny, it's not cute, and there's no purpose for it. Harley Quinn, there was that whole she tried to kill herself thing. They had a reason for it. I don't know why they did it, but once you put that gun to your head, it's ridiculous. Are you threatening people? Are you what are you doing there? What's your purpose with that?
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, and I have seen, just for instance, my wife just took a picture with somebody cosplaying as one of the Halo folks, and gun safety, even for a gun that's not real, obviously can't be real in here. They check all of that stuff for security reasons, but gun safety for sure. And I'm a big proponent of that as well. Last question for you, and this is coming from being a complete outsider in every way. One of my weaknesses in nerddom is I haven't got into anime or manga. What is the draw of those type of characters for cosplayers? Because, like I say, I don't understand them at all. Can you shed some light on that?
I really don't know. Everyone has their own things that they enjoy. I think with Crunchyroll coming out and Netflix putting a lot of anime onto their platform, it's opened up a world of something that's already been there. There's some good stuff out there. Detroit Metal City. Those episodes are 10 minutes long. They're really funny. I think that there might even be a situation where people think that it's related to hentai. So they kind of go there and then they realize these are actually very good stories. And even though they're not dirty, they're good. So they enjoy them. Mangas can come out very quickly. So I think that that's something that we don't recognize in this country. If you notice, a comic book comes out once a month. You get 22 pages. Well, in Japan, mangas are like what you read on the subway or going to the bathroom. It's trash magazines. Right. And they come out weekly. They are on top of it. So the stories, you get more story quicker.
Right.
So I think that that's part of it. I think for young cosplayers that are getting into it, I think that it's very freeing for them. They get to have fun. There's a little girl right over there, in her anime cosplay. They like the movement. They love the music. Right. And they have an opportunity to embody what they love rather than just watching it or reading it. They get to participate.
Right on. So I know I said that was the last question. One thing that I want to bring up that folks may not know about you, they might know, again, depending on the degree of following you on social media and that type of thing. You're not just a cosplayer, you actually are a colorist as well for comic books and that kind of thing. Do you mind letting us in on any of your future projects that you might have for that?
Well, I do a lot of pinup stuff. I also, my husband and I, he draws, I color. We've taken some commissions for people that want their own personal comic book done, written as well. We have a project, it's called Fire Bitch, that we're working on. It's our creator-owned book, so that should be out and in crowdfunding later this year.
Awesome.
And it's very exciting because, she's called Fire Bitch.
Right on. And I have seen some of the cosplays that you've done for that. You have a couple of those prints. Those can all be obtained through for prints or any of your pictures. How would folks best go about finding those?
azpowergirl.com. I'm also on Facebook as AZ Power Girl. I'm AZ Power Girl everywhere. Check out my YouTube as well. I'm the AZ Power Girl because someone stole my name. Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, everything. I'm AZ Power Girl. Very easy to find me. All of the stuff that I do. I'm pretty available. Also Patreon. I'm AZ Power Girl on Patreon. I typically do a calendar every year. I've got a line of cosplay books, prints, some of the comics I've done.
Well, Kara, it has been a pleasure interviewing you, and I hope that we can do this again sometime.
Absolutely. Is this where you shake my hand and pretend that they can see?
Yes, let's do that. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Hi there, this is Deadpool. I listen to comic book theater when I can't go to the bathroom or I'm a little backed up, so that always gets the job done.
This is John Reynolds live on the scene at Branson Comic-Con 2019, Day 2. I am here with...
My name's Lauren. I'm with BB Cosplay.
Hi, Lauren. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you don't mind, we're doing this, obviously, for our cosplay special. Do you mind if we start with some rapid fire?
I would love to.
Awesome. Okay. So, start out with movies. Do you prefer scary or funny?
Well, today I prefer funny because I really like to laugh and I'm in a good mood, and whenever I watch scary movies, I have to have a buddy with me. Funny movies, obviously, I can just do that all day long.
Right on. Okay. Next one for movies, Marvel or Marvel?
I was like, dressed as Captain Marvel, I'm going to go ahead and say Marvel.
Yes, that is the correct answer. Survey says that is the correct answer. Okay, so for cosplay, do you prefer paint or makeup?
See, that's complicated for me, but I think makeup is probably where I'm, down to mess with. I actually do a couple different series on my Facebook page where I do different makeup looks. I do 12 for Christmas, and I also do 31 for the month of October. So definitely,
we will be looking forward to hearing about that in those months for sure with the Collector's Corner. Also, functional or over the top for your props?
I'm pretty extra, so if I'm gonna have a prop and I'm gonna have to carry it around, it's gonna be over the top and cool. Right on.
So, okay, we'll shift a little bit here and just go general nerddom for right now. Video games, do you prefer Minecraft or Fortnite?
Minecraft, all the days, every day.
Yes. Again, survey says that is correct. Vintage, do you prefer NES or Sega?
See, I grew up with a Sega, so I'm going to go with Sega.
Okay.
Sega Genesis.
We won't hold that one against you. You're 2 for 3. Xbox or PlayStation?
PlayStation.
Okay. Mobile or console?
Mobile, when I'm going to conventions and traveling, I really appreciate, but I love vegging out, sitting in front of the TV with a bowl of popcorn and playing on my console, so.
Awesome. All right. The category now is food. I love this. It feels like a game. It feels like a game show. Oh yeah, we're doing this right around lunch. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Burgers or pizza?
Pizza.
Okay. Italian or Chinese?
Right now, Chinese, because I really want some dumplings.
Surprisingly, there's fairly good Chinese food in the Ozarks. but that we can talk about that later too. Okay, tech. Do you prefer iPhone or Android?
Android. It's a lot easier to use, and I don't feel like I'm not a snob about my phone, so there's that. No offense to iPhone users.
It's okay. My wife is an iPhone user. I'm an Android user.
But see, I prefer Mac computers, so I'm just kind of all over the place, really.
Right on. And we're not holding this as canon, like I say, rapid fire, whatever. Laptop or tablet?
Laptop.
Right on. That's where I normally do our
I'm a photographer, so editing is a lot easier for me on a laptop.
Right on. Okay, random stuff. Politics or religion?
Neither.
That's a really good answer. It's a really good answer. Nerd or geek?
I guess nerd, because I feel like geek is like more tech smart, and I am not, so I'm gonna go with nerd.
All right. Okay. Last question for all the marbles.
Oh man,
Texas Hold'em or Words Against Humanity?
Cards Against Humanity.
Awesome. Awesome. I know that they will appreciate that. I know we have a lot of fans there. So, I know we are pressed for time, and I don't want to keep you away from your panels that you're doing. This is kind of coming from a place where I'm just not that familiar. The weakness in my nerddom is manga and anime. Mm-hmm. What is it about manga and anime that draws cosplayers in?
For me personally, a lot of anime characters, you're introduced to them early on and they develop very quickly over seasons or a book series, whatever you're going through. So they have a lot of layers. They have a lot of character growth. It's a lot to relate to. Their issues that they have with their parents, with their whatever, with their friends, the way they are. A lot of main characters, I feel like, are cosplayers. Like, we kind of get bullied, we kind of get neglected, we kind of get, have bad things happen to us, and we try to come out on the other side positive and encouraging, and that's the deep emotional level of it. The surface level of it would definitely be the costumes are just crazy. Like they're you've got feathers, you've got elf ears, you've got different body paints, different contact lenses. A lot of anime characters have these crazy colored eyes. Like, there's so many things that you can do and interpret characters different ways. And comic book characters have a lot of that, which is nice. But anime characters, I feel like, are over the top and extra. So that's a lot of fun to pull those off and see the side by sides of real life versus an anime character. So
it feels like more of an achievement almost.
Right. If you see obviously with Marvel and stuff, we have the movies now we can base costumes off of too. We have the movie interpretation, we have comic book interpretations, we've got all kinds of stuff. With anime, it's all cartoons. It's all, okay, but you know what I mean? It's going from a cartoon character to a live action, and you are the live action. You're not looking for references necessarily from the TV shows. Netflix has done horrible jobs with anime series, bringing them to life. I've seen 10 times more cosplays that are way better. So I think I just think it's over the top and extra, and that's what kind of appeals to cosplayers in general. So
right on. So again, sticking kind of along these cosplay lines, it also makes me wonder, what do you feel like the difference is? Because I believe there's a difference between just being a model and being a cosplayer. Where's that line for you?
For me personally, I feel like I'm more modeling a character when I don't know as much about the character, and I try not to cosplay characters that I don't know anything about, because when you're dressed up like a character, people come up to you and they want to talk to you about the character and want to talk about the fandom. If I dress up, I don't know a lot about Harry Potter or Star Wars. I know I got grilled for that earlier when we talked over Facebook Messenger, but I don't know a lot about either character. So there was a contest where I dressed up like Darth Maul. I can do the makeup, the body paint. I had all black. I live in black clothing. A friend of mine, he did a gender bend of Leia. So we went and did that. People wanted to talk to us about different stuff. I don't know any of that. I feel uncomfortable. So I feel like that's what the difference is. A model is probably not going to know as much about the fandom that she or he is modeling from. They might just be doing it as a social gimmick to get more of a following, to still show off what they can do, kind of thing. I feel like you're not in love with the character. As a cosplayer, when you are cosplaying a character, you're spending a bunch of money on a costume. Me personally, I want to be in love with that character. I want to know the ins and outs. If someone comes up to me and wants to have a conversation, I want to know. I went and saw the Captain Marvel on Thursday. I'm ready to go. If you want to talk about the movie, I'm ready. Other characters that I cosplay, I've seen the series, I've seen this, I've done that. I think that's what the main difference is the emotional connection to that character. So
that's awesome, and I do agree with that as far as the cosplayers I've interacted with, that it feels like you just kind of pour yourself into that character.
You put a lot of yourself into it. You put blood, sweat, and tears into your character, and at that point you become that character, and that's when you're cosplaying. But realistically, though, my opinion as far as cosplay, I know people that there are many, many different forms of cosplay. Today, I'm wearing a bodysuit that I ordered off Amazon. I have my hair, slicked back, and I have my boots that I actually are from a different cosplay. I still like to think I'm having fun. I still like to think I look okay. I still like to think that I am still a cosplayer, even though I didn't make any of this. I didn't actually go home and hand sew everything. I didn't whatever. I have other cosplays that I've done different things where I'll buy stuff off Amazon and alter it, or I have stuff where I've done foam work. For this year alone, I'm doing a armor build for a con in April. It's different levels. I just don't like when people think that cosplay can't be for everyone, because oh, you bought your costume, like you're less of a cosplayer now. To me, like I don't understand that mentality, and a lot of people in the cosplay community, I feel like, have that. So I feel like for me personally, I'm trying to bring like the fun back into it. Like cosplay, the word is literally costume play. Like that's where it originates from. You're just picking a character that you love. It's Halloween every day. Like it's fun. It's supposed to be fun. And I think that with competitions and everything else, it's kind of gotten crazy. And I feel like sometimes people lose sight of that. So
Well, and to that extent, I do agree that there is that aspect, and you're going to have that. One thing that I have noticed here at Branson Comic Con, the sense of community has unfolded before my very eyes, in just talking with cosplayers, seeing them interact with each other. Is that something in the other cons that you've been to? Is that sense of community, does that kind of just transition from con to con?
For the most part, especially the littler cons, I've been to some bigger cons, not as a guest, but just there. The warmth and accepting is still there, and if you want to be a successful cosplayer, like, you gotta be nice. Like, basically, I mean, that's a rule in life. Like, don't be a dick. I don't know. Like, just
that's actually, it's funny you say it that way. That's rule number one in the corner, and that is automatic dismissal for our group on Facebook.
Well, and that should be everything in life.
You're right. You're absolutely right. We politically, religiously, all of these things that are really super controversial. If you're just nice about it,
everyone has their own opinions.
You can agree to disagree, for sure, and that has come up a couple of times.
I mean, it happens. You've got people that are very opinionated, and they hold their guns high, and they want everyone to think what they think because they think what they think is right, and that's not really right. And I was actually talking to somebody earlier at my booth, just cosplay in general. I feel like cosplayers, for the most part, not that we all have like a horrible history, but like we've been through stuff. Like I was bullied, I was picked on in school, and now I've kind of found my home and my second family, and like I kind of feel like this is my peak as far as like I'm still working on myself. I'm not like the best version yet, but I feel at home. I feel comfortable. I feel like I can be myself and be weird and talk really fast and meet new people, and all these things that I got made fun of for in school, I feel like is now being celebrated. And I feel like as a cosplayer, a lot of us have the same similarity. So we have that sense of like just community from that background alone. Like we want to be there for each other. We want to help each other. Every cosplayer that I've talked to, if I have questions or want help with something, or I'm like, how did you do this makeup, or how did you do that prop? Like cosplayers love talking about how they do stuff. They're like, oh dude, yeah, like I got this thing for like $2 at the store. It was crazy. Joanne said that was a crazy sale. Like, they want to talk to you about stuff. They want to help. I think that's where like the sense of community like really like embellishes everything, and that I have not found anything in the world like it. So it's super awesome.
Okay, so
sorry, I keep rambling.
No, absolutely no. That's great. The interview is we're interviewing you. I'm just here to facilitate. I have one last question for you because I really appreciate you taking the time out with us. In a perfect world, what is your perfect cosplayer, your dream cosplay? Is there one out there, or is that unattainable? You just got to continue down that road?
No. There's always going to be attainable cosplays. Cosplayers always find a way. We're problem solvers. I think one of them that I would really love to do, Rapunzel's my favorite princess, Disney princess. I've thought about doing her in multiple different ways. I want to do her justice. In my dream world, I want to learn how to sew. I want to make her dress completely from scratch, so I have that. I want to figure out how to have invisible shoes that don't look dumb. And for her hair, I want it to actually glow. So, like, I want it to be able to, like, when I sing, I want it to actually, like, glow. Like, can you imagine, like, a little 3-year-old girl's, like, reaction to seeing that? That'd be insane. So, in a perfect world, I would be able to pull out that cosplay seamlessly and not stress about it, not con crunch.
That's awesome. Okay, so real quick, that was the last question, but this is the last. Where can people find you and follow you on social media, and do you have a website and stuff like that?
I do have a Facebook page, Instagram page. If you want to email me, all of those handles are at BBCosplay93. The BB stands for Blonde Bombshell. It's just really long, so I go by BB. You can find me there. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Twitch. I do have a Patreon that I started where I just post extra content because, at conventions and even photo shoots and everything else, there's always extra stuff that doesn't make social media. So if you like what I'm doing, you want to throw a couple bucks my way, giveaway each month, and you get to see all this extra content. You get to see content before social media does. It's really fun. It's a good time. So hopefully I see you guys all there.
Awesome. Thank you again so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Yes.
Well, that concludes another episode of Comic Book Theater. Thank you all for listening, and don't forget to enter the giveaway for some sweet Kara Nicole.